lot of people question my sexuality because they think that I'm gay because I'm with a trans woman, because yes, she originally was a man. We all know that. But truly, in her heart, she is a woman. So therefore, I feel I am straight. I've never seen a photo of Elena before she was transitioned. No, I have not.
Do you want to?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it, because I love you and it doesn't matter. I love it. Let me see it. Yes. Look, that is a handsome man. I will put it out there. I could say a man's handsome. I'm comfortable with my sexuality. That is a handsome man. And if I was a girl, I would go for that guy too.
You are gay. Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smart, and I'm bringing you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. I apologize if you hear my voice right now. I know I sound kind of congested. I'm trying to mitigate the situation. I am a tad bit sick. I'm feeling a little bit better, but yes, I am sick. I took a shit ton of ibuprofen. I cannot be laid up in the bed all day. Got responsibilities, got stuff to do. And speaking of stuff to do, timestamps are down in the description box below and also located in the pinned comment section above your comments. This is a no babyface situation. I feel like everybody in this situation are heels. I agree with Miranda Alizé and Nixon Noel getting just due, but to this extreme, you'll see what I mean. Booker T goes directly after Ronda Rousey's throat, no diddy. Dave Meltzer announces his Hall of Fame inductees for 2025, and Paige Soraya with a rare W. We'll get all into that again. Timestamps, go ahead and use them. With that being said, let's get into it. So in case you've been living under a rock, let me catch you up with the lore really quick before we get directly into the actual content in itself. Nixon Noel, formerly known as Tegan Knox, and her girlfriend, Miranda Alizé. Yes, I finally figured out her name. Were a tag team in AEW, but they were unsigned talent. There was a situation. They were supposed to go up against TJ. Yes, I finally got their names right as well. Anna Jay and Tay Mello. And they were supposed to go up against them in a tournament where apparently they were going to end up squashing them after a 3-minute match, depending how you define squash. I don't know. Personally, I think it's just a rough around the edges 3-minute match, but it is what it is, right? They took that as apparently being disrespected or more or less seen beneath them, and decided to walk out and not want to actually do their job and participate in the match in itself, which pissed everybody off within the industry, in particular AEW, where again, the people who took offense to it essentially said that these guys really thought that they were the shits and that their shit didn't stink and that they were too good for the minutes that were actually given to them in order to compete in the match in itself, right? And they ended up giving a shitty response that I went thoroughly through in their Twitch video. If you want to go check it out, just made it a couple of days ago. And here we are now with, and mind you, typically I don't like to use Dave Meltzer as a source, but obviously him being within the know-hows of AEW, there's a good shot that this is most likely correct, right? So I'll read the text for you. It's on the screen, links, description box below. Nixon Noel has been accused of having WWE brain rot by an unnamed independent wrestling booker following her walking out of AEW. And I quote, "One person involved with the independent scene said they didn't believe this publicity would help get Noel bookings, even though this became kind of the talk in wrestling, and some indie promoters think that controversy will help sell tickets, and they aren't just two random women." I disagree with Miranda. Maybe Nixon isn't, but Miranda absolutely is. But one person who books independent talent said they disagreed. "Wasn't it just the other week you were talking about wrestlers who had leverage not wanting to do business? How about wrestlers with zero leverage? Nixon isn't gonna get work out of this. She wasn't getting work before and was crying about it. She asked way too, I guess they meant she asked for way too much money and sells 0 tickets on her name alone. Usual WWE brain rot." Now, and we're going to get more because there's some other things that I want to talk about. You could take this in two ways, right? On one hand, you can look at the situation, you could say that Dave Meltzer or whoever represents the Wrestling Observer newsletter is essentially putting this out there, and there are consequences that have to be garnered for those kind of actions, right? Blacklisted is one of them. I absolutely agree. But I do feel it's kind of weird coming from the AEW camp, and yes, I put that within Dave Meltzer's category, right, as far as where he lies at, because who he's affiliated with. Because even though I agree with blacklisting a wrestler, what I don't agree with is the complete cancellation of the wrestler in its totality. And I don't like the smear campaign in itself, right? Why are you attaching this girl to WWE, and why are you going out of your way to push forward a cancellation that extends beyond just blacklisting, right? And you probably say to yourself, what do you mean, Devontae? Here, check this out as well. This is AEW's response. Mind you, I wonder if Dave Meltzer has ever done this before, or would he have ever done this? Can I get a quote from him, for an example, when Kenny Omega walked out on Jim Cornette in ROH, bringing up some bogus foot injury nonsense? Is there a quote from Dave Meltzer tearing apart Kenny Omega in the same light? I would like to see that, if for nothing else, to see how he actually structured the quote in itself going after Kenny Omega. But nevertheless, though, look at this. According to Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer Radio, AEW has no plans to book the duo moving forward. Again, I get it. All I know is I do not expect these two to be booked in AEW. Yeah, I would expect that from AEW. And I feel like everybody should be following suit because of what she did. I'm just saying, look, if I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it. I'm a commentary channel, right? But I feel like there's a vested interest in guys like Dave Meltzer, who is already in the pocket of Tony Khan, who was talking about this situation, right? It's like, for an example, it's like listening to, like, I don't know, someone within the Democrat or Republican Party who are representatives who are attacking someone who's criticizing their president, right? Just because they're not attacking them directly, there's a vested interest in you to protect whoever that party's president or leader happens to be at that time, because you are within that party. And there's just a certain bias about it that I don't like. I don't mind you going after Nixon. I don't mind you going after Miranda, because those are the consequences. But I do mind when it's the own people within it, the actual people who are covering the story, who have a bias towards AEW already. Like, it's one thing for the wrestlers within the locker room to go after Miranda. It's one thing for the officials to go after them. It's another thing when I see the fans, or when I see Dave Meltzer, or people who are already on that side going after them. Because again, what would be your rhetoric for people who are established talent within AEW as is? Can I trust the fact that you will go after them in a similar fashion as to how you're going after Miranda and as to how you're going after Nixon? And you know why I say that? Because you look at someone like a Sasha Banks and you look at someone like a Naomi, and when they did a walkout from WWE, for the most part, I would say that that was like a 75-25 issue, right? 25 being people who said that they should have done their job, and 75, especially coming from the AEW camp, who welcomed her with open arms, seated her in the front seat at that London show a couple of years ago when she was injured. All the 9 yards, rolled out the red carpet for her and everything. You didn't treat her, the wrestling industry, you didn't treat Sasha the same way as to how you're treating Nixon and Miranda. And here, I'm being consistent. I've been saying for the longest, even with the Sasha, you guys can go back to the Sasha Banks. Oh, you can't. Well, it's on my old channel. But for the OGs out there, like, you know, I went hard at Sasha and Naomi over that shit. I blasted the fuck out of them. I shitted on them. I shitted on CM Punk for covering up for them and calling him a coward as well. I went hard after Sasha. I was consistent with this. I've been very consistent with my principles with superstars walking out. Same thing with the Andrade situation. I'm aware of that as well. I just thought it was a boring topic. Him too. Piece of shit move. Walking out, right? Don't know the direct consensus in regards to how that happened, but you get my point. I'm talking about everything wrapped up into one, right? If you're going to go after Miranda and Nixon, why didn't you go after Sasha as hard when she did the exact same thing these two did? They're all fucking terrible, yet you pick and choose who you want to go after. And that's only based off of the star power and whether or not they're going to represent your company in a positive way. That's the bullshit that I have a problem with. I don't mind the wrestlers. I don't mind the officials within the company going after them and blacklisting them. And overall, they should be blacklisted, right? You fuck up at one job and you should not be able to go to another job within the same field and work there if you did something negative at this other job that can affect this business as well in the same kind of way. And then it goes even further, because like I said, it's one thing to just cancel them. It's one thing to blacklist them, right? It's another thing to go even further out. Now fans are doing this. Now the smear campaign starts, right? The smear campaign is now starting. This one dumb fuck fan, they go, can we talk about how she's so vocal about her sexuality and her support for the LGBT community, and yet she chooses to be with a transphobic entitled Kia, I don't know what the fuck that is, or Kaya, and ruin her non-existent career by siding with her. Nixon Noel, you're so weird. And she's pointing out the fact that Nixon Noel, who's in a relationship with Miranda Alizé, as you guys know, that is legitimately her girlfriend. Apparently, Miranda went out of her way to say, I don't even know when. I guess maybe 2 years ago, going off of the years. She put out this, I guess, Instagram post. Don't homeschool your kids. They'll be weird. She said that was in 1995. Kids in public schools identifying as barn animals, 2023. So first off, she's not even going after the LGBT community. She's going after furries. You just somehow, some way put the furries within the LGBT community. So yeah, you're a fucking liar. That's one thing. And two, even if she did go after the LGBT community or something like that, right? What the fuck does that have to do with Nixon Noel? Like, these people, they're so ideologically captured. Like, even if that was the fucking case, let's say if Nixon even sided with her on that fucking issue, right? Why do you believe that someone siding with an issue, or if they even disagree with an issue, should even progress or ruin a relationship? What the fuck are you talking about? But of course, you're a fucking furry, so therefore your opinions don't goddamn matter in the grand scheme of things. This is what happens, bro. You make me defend people that I don't want to fucking defend. It's the same comments that we got the last time when talking about this situation, when Buddy immediately tried to flip the situation and go after WWE in regards to it, and I was like, just take the fucking W. Why won't you guys just take the fucking W? They did something bad. Just focus on the bad thing that they did. Instead, you have people who are being double standards in regards to how they actually approach this situation. Because again, I don't hear you guys going after your favorite superstars who are some of the best wrestlers in the world, quote unquote. You don't go after them when they themselves no call, no show, or when they themselves walk out of their companies. You don't go after them in the same way as to how you're going after Miranda and Nixon, and then you push it even more further, and you are now digging up their past in order to have some way to talk about them. Like, it's fucking weird. You're a fucking weirdo. You're a weirdo because you're a fucking furry, and you're a weirdo because you're digging up people's past to go above and beyond what they did at their fucking job. You can't even stay consistent and stay on that point. This is why people hate you guys, bro. Dead ass. Like, you guys are absolute fucking weirdos. Suggesting that someone should not date someone because they called out a fucking furry, and then you somehow, someway took the furry and put it within the LGBTQ community. Like, you're a trash person. This is why people look at the LGBT stuff and they always say to themselves that they just don't want to be wrapped up inside it, right? Do whatever you want to do, but just leave us the fuck alone. Leave us the fuck alone, because you're fucking weirdos. Every last single one of you guys who go in this direction and try to do all this stuff in order to ruin people's lives. This. You even ruin the people within the community's lives. Like, again, you just couldn't take the fucking W. So yes, Nixon Noel career is completely fucking trash. Miranda Alizé career, completely fucking trash. Justified. You did something horrible at a job that can have consequences extending to another job if you were able to sign with them. That's just the rules. You broke the rules. Suffer the fucking consequences. But to hear from all the outside people who have a complete, like, brutal bias about this, shut the fuck up. your opinions don't matter in the end of the day because you're not consistent at all. And for the weirdos who are taking this and making it way past the point of where we should be talking about this at, go to fucking hell. This is why everybody hates you. Minecraft, skibbity, immediately go ahead. No one is ever gonna talk about you in the same way when you were here versus when you were skibbityed.
Πάμε, μέχρι αποτυχίας. Έλα, ίσια η πλάτη. Αργή, αρνητική. Τράβαμε την πλάτη, όχι το δικέφαλο. Πάμε. Ωραία, κράτα, μην αφήνεις. Άλλο ένα, πάμε. Έτσι, μπράβο. Αργά μπροστά, έλεγχο. Τέλειο.
So I found this video apparently, and mind you, this has been a talk among the UFC community more so than it has been the wrestling community. So I can't really give my 2 cents too much into it because again, I'm not too versed within the UFC community. I know a couple of things, but not enough that I feel like I'm qualified to talk about it. But I'm gonna play you this clip here, and then we'll talk about what Booker T said afterwards. Again, I feel like maybe some of the people who watch MMA or watch UFC more consistently could maybe relate to this a little bit more. But Ronda Rousey, please go ahead, take it away with your stupid fucking feminist mouth.
MMA fans and media are the most "what have you done for us lately" crowd of any sport. Like, you look at WWE and they have such a reverence for their legends. And at MMA, it's like the second that you're not on top, you're not shit and you never were shit. Chuck Liddell, when he's on top, oh my God, he's the best. The second that he loses, oh, Chuck Liddell ain't shit, he never was shit. Rampage Jackson, oh my God, he's the next Mike Tyson, he's so great. Second he loses, oh, Rampage ain't shit, he never was shit.
Yeah.
GSP, oh, he loses, he's not shit, he never was shit. And I think the only reason that why MMA fans have their lips so firmly planted at the base of Khabib's cock is because he retired before he reached his limit. And if he kept fighting until he reached his limit, everybody would be like, oh, Khabib ain't shit, he never was shit. And they're like that with everybody. Like, name one person.
I mean,
Brock ain't shit, he never was shit. Name one past champion that has that the kind of respect that the current champions do. It's really sad because I think it encourages people to try and get out while they're peaking and taking all of that equity with them instead of passing it on to whoever's next to take up the mantle. I wanted to retire undefeated because I was so afraid of, like, oh, everything that I've accomplished is going to be nothing if I ever lose. So I have to retire undefeated.
No, that's not true. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I'm a very, very, very casual viewer of MMA throughout the last maybe 20 years or so, I would say. And I remember a bunch of legendary stuff going back then. You know, like, again, I can't say that I'm well versed into it, but the fact that I'm even a casual fan and, you know, I'm aware of, you know, Forrest Griffin. I mean, I remember the fight with him and Stephen Bonner or something like that. I remember everybody was talking about that back in the days. That fight was fucking crazy. I remember Anderson Silva, obviously, you know, Frank Mir, George St. Pierre. I think she mentioned them too. Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz. You know, I know all the legends for the most part, right? Now, granted, I'm pretty sure these are like the who's who of UFC, but it just says that, like, yeah, for me as a person who doesn't watch UFC like that, I'm aware of who they are, and that was like 20 years ago for the majority of those guys, right? Like, there are people within UFC 20 years ago who are remembered more fondly than wrestlers who existed 20 years ago. I mean, really, when you think about 20 years ago, we're talking about 2005. The only wrestlers from a big name standpoint who are remembered around that time frame is Cena, Orton, and Batista. You can't even say Lesnar because Lesnar was gone by that point, right? Maybe you can argue maybe a CM Punk, but, you know, like, for the most part, I don't agree with that premise. I think Ronda is just saying that because she fell off and, you know, maybe she's trying to cope with it. I don't know. But, like, I definitely wouldn't say that, at least from a casual viewing standpoint. I can't speak to the wide variety of MMA fans and how they talk within the community, but, like, just from a person who's outside of the community who absolutely remembers all the heavy hitters in UFC back in the days. If I remember them, I can only imagine how they probably view them. I'm pretty sure they're revered within the MMA community. It's just because you, Ronda, aren't held to the same caliber or to the same status as the actual legends. And I would presume most people would maybe consider you a legend, if for nothing else your status. But just because you're not held up to the same regards as those guys doesn't mean that they're not remembered, right? But Booker T had to give his 2 cents on this, so I'm going to let him talk about it because he felt kind of slighted by this in a sort of kind of way. So here, I'll let him take it away.
Problem is, I don't know why she's so mad. You know, she did a great thing for the sport. She really did.
Incredible.
She should embrace that. She should embrace, you know, what she did and who she is and who she was. You know what I mean? Because she really, you know, was great for the sport. You know, but every sport evolve. Every sport get better. You know what I mean? The blueprint wasn't even really, you know, drawn when Ronda Rousey first, you know, came into the UFC and women fighters start actually fighting. It wasn't really any structure to it. It was like, you fight, you know, this girl, you fight. It was, I mean, come on. I mean, but did she come in at the right time? Yes, man, she did some great things. But when she's, I don't know. I don't know why she's so bitter. I don't know why she's so bitter. I mean, the wrestling world let her in, and I think the wrestling world embraced Ronda Rousey.
Embraced her.
And then she just took a big crap on professional wrestling immediately when she left. And then sometimes even when she was there, why? I don't know. You know what I mean? But some people, you're never gonna, you know, understand what their agenda is. You know what I mean? Some people, you know, like a Ronda Rousey, you know, you lose, it could turn everything upside down. You know, Ronda Rousey was on top of the world, movie roles, commercials, whatever. And then, you know, but there's, you know, that same road that you travel up, you're going to travel back down that road, and you can make it as bumpy as you want. I think that's what Ronda Rousey's going through right now. She's just going down a bumpy road, you know.
Yeah, obviously I agree with Booker on that. I don't, like, again, it's wrestling related in the sense that, you know, Booker T's talking about it, and he's taking Ronda Rousey's attitude, and he's obviously, you know, using her attitude as far as how she carried herself in WWE to at least exclaim his beliefs in regards to how bitter she is, as far as how she feels MMA looks upon her, right? Like, you look, Ronda has a very superiority complex. I think that's the best way to say it, right? Now, I can't speak to her fighting abilities because, again, I'm not what you would call an everyday, because I'm a fan of MMA, I'm a fan of the UFC, but I'm a fan from a distance. I don't keep up with it, right? But I'm a fan in the sense that I respect and I dig the combat aspect of it, right? But I can never call myself a true fan who follows the product to the degree where I feel comfortable talking about how good or how not good Ronda Rousey is. All I can say is the things that I typically see around those communities is how people typically go after Ronda Rousey, and they, not me, they suggest that Ronda Rousey was given a bunch of scrubs in order to fight, and she was given a bunch of easy opponents. That's not me. That's what I see as far as the grand consensus coming out of these MMA fan bases or communities, right? And I'm only going to presume that she is very frustrated from the lack of respect she is given for I would say that she did that. I didn't know too much about women within UFC before Ronda Rousey, so I guess I can give her credit for that. But her bringing MMA from a women's perspective to the mainstream through the UFC, I feel like she wants that respect, but given who her opponents were, going off of what the MMA fans are saying, no one is truly going to respect her. So instead, she's going to use the legends overall, lump herself within that category, which I would presume that most people would probably say she is. Maybe not to the same degree, but a legend nonetheless, status-wise. She's going to lump herself within that, and then say that because those guys are quote-unquote forgotten, which they're not, that means she is forgotten. And that's all to deflect for why the actual MMA fans don't respect her, which is because they felt as if she was given favoritism rather than actually going off of her natural skills in comparison to the other UFC fighters. I feel like that's what I'm getting out of this, right? And then being able to be ran out of the MMA community, and then you come to wrestling, and then you have the same kind of attitude that got you ridiculed within the UFC community. To bring that here, all I'm saying is, even if you're a fan of Ronda Rousey, ask yourself, and maybe she should ask herself, if there's always problems surrounding you, don't you think the problem might be you? That's all I'm saying, and I'll keep it at that.
Fur covered excuse for a Marine. Sit up straight. What is your major malfunction, furball? Oh, get it off me. Move. Watch it.
So apparently, Dave Meltzer has now put out his 2025 Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame inductees. And I can't remember how far back this goes. I want to say maybe 1996, although someone can correct me. I might have that confused with the WWE Hall of Fame. Although I think the first ever inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame was Andre the Giant. That could have been in 93 or 94. But maybe I got it all convoluted. Nevertheless, though, because I'm not here to give you a history major lesson on the fucking history of Dave Meltzer's stupid fucking Hall of Fame that also doesn't have an actual infrastructure for people out there who complain about that kind of stuff, which I can kind of agree with. Let's see who are the inductees for this year. We have Raul Paoli, I guess you could say that. Paoli, not too familiar with who he is. Bobby Bruns, not too familiar with who he is. Darrell Dixon, don't know who he is. Spyros Arian, don't know who he is. Gran Hamada, obviously I know who Gran Hamada is. Sabu, obviously I know who Sabu is. Cody Rhodes is in the Hall of Fame. That's cool. Okay. And this is the one that got me the most, though. CM Punk is in the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. Now, I've never been a humongous fan of CM Punk from a personal standpoint. I've always dug his work. I've never shied away from the fact that I've always been a big fan of CM Punk's work, especially from a character standpoint, right? Never been a big fan of him personally, but as a wrestler, I've always been pretty favorable of Punk. I always thought he was already in the Hall of Fame. I don't know. I just kind of assumed. Like, I can't tell you what year I thought he went in, but like, I just thought he was naturally in already. And I vaguely remembered, maybe I posted, I feel like I did a video on this not too long ago also, where like I had one of the excerpts of some Mark talking to Dave Meltzer, essentially saying why he didn't feel comfortable putting CM Punk in the Hall of Fame because of his personal disdain for how Punk carried himself throughout AEW. I can't remember verbatim where I seen that video from. Maybe I can find it and insert it here. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find that real fast.
He should be in. Punk is interesting because this is the first year I will be voting for CM Punk. My hold up on him, I've always said Hall of Fame draw, great worker. That wasn't my issue. My issue was his past behavior and its impact on AEW's business. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I thought he's still active at a high level, and there's always going to be a risk that may happen again. However, certain things this year, one of them being that his wife now works with WWE, therefore he's much more, I think, emotionally bound to make sure this works well, I would think. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you didn't say The Miz thinks he's a nice guy.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. So it was one of his sycophant fanboys who said they weren't going to vote CM Punk in because of his past issues within AEW that kept him out of it being the criteria as to why he shouldn't get in. What the fuck does that even mean? If that's the case, then I would probably say 90% of the Hall of Fame shouldn't be in. Like, didn't you guys have a recall on Chris Benoit getting kicked out of the Hall of Fame because, you know, he's a murderer and you kept him in still? Yeah. No. you don't get to make that fucking decision and try to play the moral high ground. Now, I'm not saying this guy legitimately did that. I'm not saying he's one of the people to keep Chris Benoit in. Not sure about that. But knowing what publication you're voting for, I'm just saying you can't play the moral high ground with CM Punk. But I get it. Wrestling over actual fucking lies when it comes to the one. Continuing on, some of the people who weren't able to get in, apparently they were short just 4 votes, which again, JYD isn't in your Hall of Fame. That's crazy work. I swear I thought am I having like a Mandela effect? I promise you, I thought Hayabusa was already in the Hall of Fame. Right? At least when he passed away, I thought they put him in the Hall of Fame afterwards. Or maybe I'm just high, bro. Again, maybe I'm just having like a bit of a Mandela effect. I swear to God, Hayabusa, and for sure JYD, he wasn't even in the Hall of Fame after he passed away? Like, I swear I thought he went like in the early 2000s, but apparently not. And these are some of the people who were just like completely under the ballot that didn't even get the opportunity to get inducted. Bill Mercer, who I feel like I heard that name before, but I'm not too familiar, but I feel like I heard that name before. Les Collette, don't know who that is. Los Infernales, El Centenico, and Pareda Morgan and MS1, don't know who the fuck that is. Dusty Rhodes and Dick Murdoch as a tag team, obviously. Drew McIntyre had an opportunity to get inducted this year, and FTR had an opportunity to get inducted this year, and they were both knocked out of the running. So, hey, there you go. Let me know your thoughts as far as how you feel about the Hall of Fame inductees. Do you agree with it or do you disagree with it? Go ahead and talk about it amongst each other in the comment sections, I guess.
She's already controversial, can I say, because she is always in the media for something. Because she's a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And she uses that to her advantage, right? Which I'm like, I don't understand why people could get mad about her using her beauty.
Right.
Like, this is the American Eagle conversation to the side.
Yeah.
Because she recently, like, spoke about how, you know, as a female, and if you're beautiful and all that kind of stuff, use it. Use the assets you have.
Yeah.
And people are so mad about that.
Yeah. She has, like, a big male audience, and I know she did, like, some ads for, like, some soap was it
with a hole in it,
or whatever. It was like a soap brand, but it's
which is weird. But I'm like, hey,
but
people
like
bought it.
Yeah, why are you mad at her for like getting her bag?
Yeah,
like, let her get her bag.
I'm like, girls do OnlyFans and shit like that.
Was she?
She was in White
Lotus.
Lotus. She was great in that. But she was like, she's doing all these different things where it's just kind of like sexualized, and I get it. But I'm like, there's millions of women out there and men doing OnlyFans and all that kind of stuff. Sell it, like sex sells, right?
Yeah.
It's always sold. It is what it is.
Going back to our last hot topics episode, we were talking about Cardi B and
Nicki Minaj.
Oh yeah.
I feel like Sydney's doing a bit of a tour right now. She was obviously made headline news with the Variety in that chainmail dress.
Yes.
Or chainmail dress.
It's a great
She looked amazing. Yeah.
She did look amazing. But what's this? Now she's at NASCAR championship. Did you guys hear about this?
She's everywhere.
Yeah.
She is everywhere.
What do we think is coming up? I also didn't know she had a production company too.
She probably has.
Does she do music?
Yeah.
She doesn't
She
do
has a movie
music.
coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever she's doing, her PR team are genius because
Give
she's
us a
in
call.
the media. She's constantly freaking viral for something. Okay, the American Eagles ad, fine, take that as you want, whatever. I don't think it was meant to be racist.
They said it was not intentional. Whether like we believe them or not,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know, but it freaking worked for them. Like,
It definitely
and you can't
worked.
deny that it did work. So it's like notes to take into account.
Justin
you know
Timberlake did
how to
better.
save your brand.
She dated Ronnie Raddick for like 5 years. It's safe to say she has CTE. Yeah, for sure. Why is Saraya commenting on this anyways? We need to get rid of podcasts. Oh yeah, you're right, for sure. Yeah, right. Hey, who am I, right? Okay, I have to ask, what's beautiful about Sydney Sweeney? How do we define beauty? and by the way, I answered that post. Her hair, her figure, her eyes, her lips, all biology that's based on symmetry, naturally cognizant within the human mind to display health. Standards are subjective, appeal within a general consensus as objective. I'm personally not attracted to Sydney, not my type, but she is beautiful. Yeah, I stand by what I said. I agree with me. Duh. So, if you haven't noticed, people are pissed off right now because Paige happened to like white supremacists. Now you're probably saying, where did that come from? Oh, you don't know where that came from? Okay, so you're living under a rock. I got you. This ad right here is why people are calling this girl who Paige is taken up for a white supremacist.
My body's composition is determined by my genes. Hey, eyes up here.
Sydney Sweeney has very genes.
And why should I have to explain to you why people have a problem with it? Never mind the comments that you were seeing. Let this person look at this person. I want you to look at this person who is talking. Let her explain the problem that she and others are having with that commercial.
Should we be surprised that a company whose name is literally American Eagle is making fascist propaganda like this? Probably not, but it's still really shocking. Like, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes. Like, that is Nazi propaganda.
So, now do you get it? Apparently, that commercial that you just seen, along with me, looking at her body, looking at her face, everything encapsulated into one, clearly talking about her genes, as a play on word being jeans, Jeans, is about how good looking she is, because the girl is sexy. She's just sexy. And the people who are complaining about it are that. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think these people are being good faith? And do you believe that they actually think that Sydney Sweeney is promoting propaganda from the those people? You think she's actually promoting those people, or she's just promoting how good looking she is? No different than like commercials over the last 40 years. Like, what I would say, what are we doing here? But we kind of know what we're doing here, right? We kind of know what we're doing here. And that's what Paige is defending. And because Paige is defending what she, Sydney Sweeney, and American Eagle were clearly promoting, that means by virtue, because these people are absolutely fucked in the head, what they believe as far as what they're promoting, American Eagle, for Rudy and Slick there, right? The people are now starting to get into my brains and they're starting to influence it. Because what they actually believe, what they're promoting, that means Paige is now considered a Nazi. I can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. Anybody can't make this shit up. The question is, I'm gonna probably put a timer on my phone. How quickly before Saraya Paige walks any of this back? I don't know. We'll see on the next episode of Devontae crashes out over a dumb fucking wrestler walking back shit that they have no reason and no, like, absolutely no prerogative to walk back. We'll see how fast it takes her. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. How do you feel about today's topics? Do you feel that Paige is cool with Mustache Man? Because apparently she thinks a girl is hot because the girl is hot. I don't know. How do you feel about Dave Meltzers, Hall of Fame inductees? Some people that you thought could have gotten in this year, some people who doesn't deserve to be in this year. Let me know your thoughts on that. How do you feel about Booker T trashing Ronda Rousey's horrible entitlement? And how do you feel, more importantly, about this whole situation in regards to the cancellation of Alizé and Noelle. Lots of things to talk about with this video. It's up to you to finish talking about it. As always, my name is Devontae, aka Millennial Smart, and I'll be catching you fine folks later. A deuces and a pea ice.